What's up, baseball glove buddies? Welcome to a new type of video, the head-to-head, or the inside look. I don't know what we're going to call it yet. This is going to be a 2-video segment on 3 high-level catcher's mitts, and we're going to compare and contrast some things about them. So our competitors, a Wilson A2000 2403 Pudge, a Rawlings, Salvador Perez Heart of the Hide, and an All-Star Pro Elite. Now, granted, these are different price points. $370, a stock model, $270, stock model, $270. But I want to try and look at some of the things that you, as a consumer, because I get asked these questions all the time, which one's the best, which one's the best? Well, they're the best if they fit you correctly, right? But these are an interesting 3 because they all have some very similar characteristics. So, really briefly, I'll pick the All-Star. So an All-Star is going to come in kip steer hide. The others do not. Okay, a Pro Preferred would have kip, but not a Heart of the Hide. Fit and finish are very good. There's none of these that look sloppy or poorly assembled. Okay, I'm just showing you what it looks like. One thing that you get on an All-Star is you're going to get the finger hood, which some guys use and some guys use as padding. You're going to get a very reliable buckle back strap. Okay, very good. These are probably the best buckle backs in the industry, is All-Stars. Okay, so that's what we're looking at. Inside, a very thick toe section, a very thick piece of plastic. All right, just so you know, kip everywhere. All right, that's the All-Star. Hello, All-Star. Hello, All-Star. Here, I don't want to block this, I'm sorry. We've got a Heart of the Hide Selvy. Similarities? Pretty similar. This is not kip, it's steer hide. No problems. Deer tan cowhide inside? No big deal. Is there a big difference in the feeling of the leather? No, there really isn't. I'm not one of these guys who swears by kip. It's made of younger cows. That's about it, and they can charge $100 for it. In my I guess opinion, these have a tendency of stretching faster than Heart of the Hides do, or just a regular A2000, which is why I usually suggest to people, if you're going to go between the high-end Pro line and the ultra high-end, go to high-end. You don't need the extra stuff. Anyhow, comparing the All-Star to the Rawlings, you're going to see the buckle back, basically borrowed from All-Star. They make their own version. It's nearly identical. Very nice, very comfortable. Like that a lot. No finger hood. I'm sure this was a custom. Remember, it's a straight up custom, so that was probably an option. They chose not to do it. So can you get it with a finger hood? I'm pretty sure you can. Do I know if all stock Salvies come with it? No, I don't. Both are actually designed with the same type of pocket, the double X. This was modified to a 4 vertical X's, but they both are sold double X. Both have laces that come through to the front. In fact, the Wilson has the same exact thing. Very similar. Okay. Felt quality on the Rawlings, honestly, much stiffer over here. The All-Star kind of gets really poofy fast. But I'm going to do a pull apart so you're going to see the differences. So, third one. So our Pudge, this one was taken care of the best of the 3. Very, someone was diligent with lightly oiling and cleaning it, so it's in good shape. You can see a lot of similarities here. This is the only one of the 3. Now, granted, the Pudge is a much older design, which does not have a strap back. In fact, I still do not believe that Wilson makes a single strap back for any catcher's mitt for baseball. I could be wrong. They may have come out in the 2020 year, and I haven't seen them. I don't know. But this is the old reliable, the buckle back, or just basically the straight, I don't know what they call it. They don't have a name for it. The strap back, maybe, with that nice Drylex padding. When they moved from the wool to the Drylex, it really made a lot of Wilsons a lot more comfortable in the back of the hand. But you can see that you're limited in your amount of adjustment. However, here's the trade-off. When you've got these babies, if you're taking this on and off all the time, you're going to burn that Velcro out. This, set it, forget it, okay? So some guys really like to do this a lot, and then they're like, oh, my Velcro sucks. And I'm like, well, why are you cranking it on like this every time? What, are you crazy? Just lace it down. Oh yeah. This is not kip. This is just pro stock steer hide. similar to a heart of the hide. Other things, notice the same. Laces come all the way through to the front of the mitt, same as the other two. Design, there it is, the double X design. These are extremely similar. And now let me show you something else, and I can only show it when they're together. I'm going to show you the angles at which the thumb is set to the 4 other fingers. And this is something that is often forgotten when a glove is purchased. Now it's not the best way to do it, but I'm trying to show that I've lined up the welts on all the fingers, and they should be. I got to make sure they're like really, really lined up right. Because this example only works when they're like really on there. All right, so there they are lined up perfectly. And what I want to draw your attention to is not this side, but come on. Oh, man. They don't make machines to do this kind of thing. To the thumb. Now, what you're doing is you're trying to compare the spread angle of the thumb to the 4 fingers, okay? If you look, now granted, one is loosest, the All-Star is the loosest. If we laid out their patterns, I'm sorry, I jumped on the screen. I will lay out these pieces when they're apart, and you'll see this. But there's a slight difference in the angle at which the thumb hits the palm for the All-Star, whereas the Salvi and the Pudge are virtually identical. This will show up when I pull these pieces apart. But the major complaint, and I'll talk about it in the next video, is that if you have an All-Star Pro Elite and you do not have a very large hand, I'm talking not just long fingers, but a big palm, these have a tendency of being very loose. And there's a reason why. Most catchers in the major leagues use All-Star. If you're breaking them down by, brand, All-Star's #1. Well, there's a good reason. All major league catchers don't have junior high piano playing girl hands like mine. Large, long, thicker fingers, stronger hand, bigger wrist. So a glove that has a very large span is going to play better to those players. However, the average 14-year-old in Highland Park, Illinois, who buys one of these because they have $370 laying around, doesn't have that hand. They get this, and they're always like, "Why is it so loose?" And I can't tighten that. I can't make the angle at which the index finger and the thumb hits. I can't make it smaller. So the All-Star has an almost 90-degree angle between the index finger and the thumb loop. It's almost 90 degrees. It's probably just a little less. Whereas the Pudge and the Salvi, if this is the All-Star, here are those two. They're a little bit less. This will make the glove feel bigger or smaller because it's dictating the spread between your palm and your thumb. Dan Davis did a really good job. We were talking through this together, trying to piece together why there seemed to be so many people who loved or hated All-Stars, and that's the best we could come up with. Now, based on our work on the phone, we're going to prove it by cutting the pieces apart and laying them down. So you'll be able to see the comparisons, and then you'll be able to know for yourself, hey, this is why this probably doesn't fit me as well as I'd like. So next video is going to have a cut apart. So the pieces will be laid down. I have to move the camera a little bit, but you'll be able to see the parts and the angles. So you'll be able to see that I'm not making this up. I don't have a Pro 4.4 and Easton, a Vinci, and all these other. I don't have them laying around. But these types of videos, if I took those measurements, I could compare one to the other. And hopefully I could. But anyway, this may be more information than you're used to getting, and the key is more information is good. Adds to our knowledge base as a group. So anyhow, I'll check back next time. And until next time, may the Lord bless you and make it a lovely day. Longest direction from here to here. This is the Perez, 12 3/4 inches. From here to here, here to here, 6, and from here to here, 6 1/4. Here's the Pudge, long distance from there to there, 12 1/2. Here to here, 6 1/2. Here to here, 6 1/2. The larger All-Star glove, 7 inches from there to there. From here to there, 12 1/2. And the smaller All-Star. From here to here, 6 1/4. There to there, 6 even. 12 even from here to here. So I don't know what that gets us, but there's just slightly different measurements. What's up, baseball glove buddies? Here's our second of 3 videos on the head-to-head catcher's mitt contest. And guess what? We got a new entry. Just after I opened that one All-Star Pro Elite, I got another one. I'm going to use them both because I'm not for sure, but they may be slightly different sizes. We have, here's our gloves here, our mitts. We've got, bear with me, this is, I don't have this storyboarded, okay? Okay, so we got 4 webs, four of these, 4 of these. Got it, all right. So here are our 4, I don't know what the back piece, the back shell pieces. Here's our Pro Elites, our Pudge, our Perez, Salvi, wow, I'm totally blanking here, and another Pro Elite. Now what I wanted to draw our attention to was, I figured if we could take these apart, we might begin to see some differences concerning their shape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the camera a little bit, and I'm going to try and lay these out. And we're going to look down on them. I think that's actually going to help us. I want to see if we can see any real measurements. What I'm trying to do is lay these all out so that the fingers are pointing directly, they're perpendicular with the front edge of this table. Okay, and I think that might show us perhaps slight differences in closure angles. So here we go. I'm picking this up. And let's see. All right. Oops, sorry. There we go. I flipped upside down. Okay, so here's what we've got. And I'm just trying to take a look and see what type of angle we're seeing from this point to that point. I was discussing that for many people the All-Star has the largest measurement from here to here. Now, I don't know how I can show that well. I'm showing you the parts. Maybe this is the easiest way. I'm really figuring this out while I'm shooting it. I'm sorry, but maybe this is the way. So let's go from, we'll just measure from the corner here, 0, to the corner middle there, to the corner middle there. And it looks like we have almost exactly 9 inches on that Pro Elite. We're going to go middle top to middle there. This Pro Elite is 9 3/4. Okay, so we already figured something out. This is a different size than that one. I don't exactly know because a lot of times these aren't stamped, and it's really hard to read, honestly, the numbering on the palm piece. Now let's go over here to our Pudge. Now we know the Pudge and the Salvi are all 32 1/2. The spread there, again, kind of large. This is 9 1/2 for the Pudge. And let's see here. Now we're going to the Salvi. We're looking at 9 1/2, 9 3/4. Looks like the smallest one appears to be, it is clearly this Pro Elite. So I'm not sure about the size on this. Perhaps this is a 32, or I'm sorry, 32 1/2. My finger's in the way. I'm sorry. The longest here at nearly 10 even, 9 3/4, 9 3/4. So what are we actually learning by this? That's the length. Now, is there any real substantial change in appearance between kind of this angle here? Tough to see, but I guess the measurements tell us more. Something I don't exactly know how to measure precisely, but let's try it. Let's try and get the measurements from top of here to the longest side, or the far side of the thumb loop. That will give us an idea of how far this thumb loop is and how far up the thumb it actually moves. I think that'll work. So let's see. I know this might be really boring to some of you, but for some others of you who are trying to figure out why your glove doesn't fit, this might help, or mitt. So from the far edge, right where the thumb loop ends, that's under there, it's dead nuts. It's 9 even on the Salvi. On the Wilson, from the edge to the edge, it is 9 exactly. Sorry, 9 exactly. The larger Pro, sorry, 9 exactly. And here, the smaller, no, about 8 3/4. So I don't know exactly what that tells us. I do know that the amount of room that needs to be covered to get your pinky in that pinky loop and this thumb in this loop is very large. You see how your hand is stretched up quite a bit? Do you see how this index to middle to thumb is at nearly 90 degrees? I'm going to do that same simulation here over each of these, and here we're under 90 degrees, you can see it. The Salvi at 90, and 90 or a little bit more on the Pudge. Now, when I'm doing this, I was coming in believing that these are more or less interchangeable in their design patterns. They have very similar webs. Let's go to what else they have that's the same. I know this is kind of tedious. I'm sorry. So I'm going to throw up the felts. The felts tell us probably the most. Sorry, I'm moving everything around here on you. So we have the Pudge, the black All-Star, the Salvi, and the lighter All-Star. And a simple way to figure out what's actually happening would be to simply lay the felts one on the other and see what remains uncovered. So here we can tell that the All-Star is, the black All-Star is the widest. So if we line it up exactly with the Rawlings, which is the next widest, I laid these out before, we can see that the stretch is wider for the All-Star. So there is, if I flip them, which is what I should have done, you will see, hold on, you will basically see the All-Star creeping out all around that edge. So the black All-Star is the biggest. Let's check Perez versus Pudge. Okay, Pudge is definitely smaller than Perez. So we can see those are even, right? And there's the Perez sticking out. And then let's check the Perez versus a smaller All-Star. Now it's a smaller mitt, so it's going to be smaller. Okay, but let's check here. These angles are a little different. It looks like All-Star has the widest tops. And we'll go All-Star to Pudge, the little one to Pudge. My fingers are getting tired and I'm like nearly blind because of this light in my face. And what do we got? Okay, so the All-Star is the lighter weight All-Star is the smallest. There's the Perez. Now, quickly looking at the webs. Sorry, this will almost be done. Some of you guys are dying. I've never tried a video like this. We're basically going to see all of these webs more or less similar. So let's stack them up and we'll see heights kind of in that order. The blue Salvi is the tallest for sure. Widths, boy, this is what you do. This is what you get going kind of live stream. You get all these stupid things not going right. There's some differences there. Interesting that the smaller All-Star has a wider web by, that's a 1/2 inch almost. and curl this down real quick. So yeah, the Salvi has a bigger web. So it's funny, it's interesting how there's a little give and take between each of these models. What I'm trying to point out is, A, they all make good gloves, but it seems to be, by examining just the parts, that the All-Star has a tendency to play the widest, and you have to be cognizant of that if you're buying one of these, because if your hand isn't very large, the All-Star might feel too spread apart and hard to close. Okay? Hopefully this video was helpful. It was a first of. I don't know if it's the best thing you ever saw. Maybe it was interesting. You probably have never seen 4 catcher's mitts compared like that. But anyway, kind of a cool experiment. I'll check back when they're all done, and we'll shoot another one. So stay tuned. Maybe it'll be cool. What's up, baseball glove buddies? Here is the head-to-head video with 4 top-of-the-line catcher's mitts, trying to compare and contrast what they were like inside, what they feel like outside, as best as I can. I don't have a way to really give a buying guide for catcher's mitts, but this is kind of like that. All of these gloves, we've got an A2000 Pudge, we've got a Salvi from Rawlings, we've got an All-Star Pro Elite, and a larger All-Star Pro Elite. All these are going to be considered top of the line or near top of the line. What I basically discovered was that majority of these were built with almost the same type of pocket or body alignment. So all of them, no matter which one you choose, play a little bit more thumb heavy. So they play a little bit more out toward that thumb and not like a circle, more like kind of like a, I don't know what that would be. It's a very funny oblong shape, but you'll see it on all these. None of these really make circles. See? And generally, from what I can tell, based on the measurements, I did felt measurements inside. I wrote things on the felt. If you have a hand style where your thumb is intersecting your index finger at close to 90 degrees, these are going to fit you a little bit better. They also seem to fit guys who have a little bit larger distance between here and here on their hand. So what I'm finding is they're basically built for slightly larger, so normal to slightly larger hand sizes, with the large Pro Elite being really big. Like, you'd have to have a pretty large hand to spread across from here to here, whole pinky loop to thumb loop. Whereas on the smaller Pro Elite, my hand does fit all right, but this is smaller. I don't know, fit, finish, they're all made about the same. All-Star gives you a nice wrist back and a thumb hood, but they give you a really old style thumb housing, whereas you'll find in the newer Rawlings or the Wilson, you'll have kind of that double thumb protector, which, truth be told, is very comfortable. This is like 1975 technology for the thumb loop. I don't know why they don't upgrade it, but it might be that so many catchers are using it with different size thumb splints that they said forget it because of thumb splints. I don't know. Kip, Heart of the Hide, Pro Stock. Leathers are similar. Webs, basically identical. I guess what I can prove from this, it's not, nothing that you might have thought was really amazing, but the larger your hand, the more you're going to probably want to move toward All-Star. Smaller, you're probably going to want to move toward the Pudge. That's the best I can really make out. So if I was listing them in size, inside, this is kind of how I list them. So Wilson, Rawlings, small All-Star, large All-Star. I think you can see them all now. But just make sure if you get one of these that the top of the web isn't about to break in here. That is a problem for this particular mitt. For the rest of them, sometimes you can order this as a custom option. I don't believe Wilson offers it yet, but I'm just saying it's out there. So, I don't know, it's a glove off or a mitt off, and I can't say there's a clear winner. One may fit you better than others, but just know that there's a little bit of variance between them, and so if you get one and it isn't doing it for you, trying a different brand that may be larger or smaller might help. I'd like to do one with a different video with a DPCM from Wilson, a Russell Martin, and maybe not All-Stars, but maybe something else. Maybe an Easton or a 4.4 Pro to try and get a look at perhaps a smaller circular style catcher's mitt. That's the kind that I'm a little more drawn to tight circle. But anyhow, I don't catch as a professional. I take gloves apart as a professional. But I work on customers' gloves that could be any one of these, and I have to modify them all by adding certain things inside. So anyway, hopefully it's at least somebody trying to give a meaningful buyer's guide based on some teardowns and measurements. How effective it is, I have no idea. But, might as well give it a shot. So, I'm Dave Wagner. These are not my gloves. And you can like, follow, share, subscribe, and thanks so much for watching. Make it a glovely day.